Steady talking about you real, you ain't let your gas pound for that nigga yet. Shit. And even if we chop the bag off, you probably front like, nah, I need a bigger check. But I just seen you on the internet talking about you been a threat. We sick of that. You know what I mean?
Peace, family. When I tell you, they don't want you to get this work, they don't want you to get this work. Nonetheless, we will get this work, and we will reach the frequency and vibration of the planet. Put your hands up. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Come on in. Come on in. Yes. Yes. Let's get this work. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Hotep. Grand Rising. Grand Rising, family. Grand Rising. Let me shut this computer down to make sure y'all can see me. Make sure you can see me, because we're going in. We're going in. There are many forces at play that don't want you to get this information. There are many forces at play that don't want you seeing what you're about to see, hearing what you're about to hear. The one thing that I can guarantee you is that after this feed, you will not be able to unhear what you have heard. You will not be able to unsee what you have saw. Okay? So if you are ingrained in whatever gospel you've been raised in, I advise you to move on to another video right now. I'm going to give you some time. I advise you to do that now. As I was saying earlier in the feed, I am no stranger to Christianity. I served 38 years. 38 years in Christianity. I will be on the level of a master teacher, or a master. If you look at Freemasonry, it takes 40 years. I served 38 years in Christianity. There's really nothing you can tell me about Christianity in any walk. Whatever sect it was, I have been through those houses. Okay? From Full Gospel to Kajik to Baptist to AME, I have walked through every single one of those houses. Zion, whatever you want to deal with in terms of Christianity. And like I said, this is not, I do not take on something I have not walked of. As I said earlier, I cannot speak on a man's house unless I've been in his house. There are many scholars who speak on Christianity and have never been in the sects of Christianity. They can't give you receipts. JAMAAR Milton is not that guy. Anything that I speak on, I'm going to be able to give you receipts on. Okay? So now, when we're speaking in terms of Jesus, right, amongst any other characters in the Bible, I have to bring you back, all the way back to its inception. When were these things created? When was it introduced to the world, right? Who was the first man to get a hold of this information and present it to the masses, right? Well, let's deal with the text. The text talks about certain entities. It talks about, in the beginning was heavens and the earth, right? So we know the heavens were here. So from the time man got here, man saw the heavens. He saw the heavens. This is the first thing that man sees. When you come out of the womb of Africa in the Garden of Eden, the first thing you're going to see is the heavens. Naturally, the heavens will be the first science that man has ever developed. The study of the heavens, or what we call astronomy. Astronomy was the first science ever developed. We have the proof of that on the walls of Kemet in the Dendera temple. The temple of Dendera is where you find this. What you're looking at is actually the development of not astrology, but of not astronomy, but astrology. Okay? Actually, it's the other way around. Astronomy. That is the study of the stars. You're looking at the first zodiac wheel. This is the first zodiac wheel ever created. We created that science. Okay? This and this is the same thing in color. And what you can see here are all the symbols of the zodiac in the middle, showing you the rotation of the sun as it moves around the cosmos. Okay? Which was later interpreted to what you see here with all the different zodiac principles. As the earth moves around or the sun moves around, whether you believe in flat earth or whether you believe in global earth, we know that the sun is going to be found in separate locations across the plane of a year, a solar year. One of the major things in Kemet that we were concerned with was the cosmos. Why? Why were we concerned with the cosmos? The only reason why we were concerned with the cosmos was because there was a time to harvest, there was a time for the flood, and there was a time for planting seeds. Do you understand? This is how we actually made our year. It was according to when we were going to be planting, reaping, and sowing. So we had to know what the sun was doing, what time of the year it was. We had to calculate. Very important. Very important. So with that being said, we created an anthropomorphized these these cosmic beings, these cosmic entities in the sky, which we call stars. We made them into people. We made them into animals to tell a story as to what the sun is doing, when it is doing it, and why it is doing it, where it's going to be next. When you take this collection of stories, and put it in a book form, that will be what you call the Bible. The Bible is called Helios Biblios in Greek. Helios Biblios. Okay? What is Helios? Helios. Holy Bible is Helios Biblios. What is Helios? Helios is the Greek word for a young Greek sun god who rode across the sky each day in a chariot pulled by 4 horses. This is where you get the word Helios from. As a matter of fact, here he is right here. The word Helios means sun. Sun. The word Biblios means book. So you are reading the sun book. You're reading a book about Helios, which was their god of the sun. Not the S-O-N, but the S-U-N. The sun as it rotates around the earth. You understand? Helios Biblios is the sun book. So now, me as an individual, before we go further, myself as an individual, I was born in the constellation of Libra. In the terms of Kemet during the time, Libra didn't exist during the time that we're talking about. That didn't even exist. As we know, Libra is the scales. So I would be born in the month of what we would call Ma'at, around that season when we're dealing with the zodiac. Ma'at. Ma'at, as we know, is the scales. If you look here, this is how you would write it in Meduna Chur. Okay? This is how you would write it. Ma'at, meaning balance. So you see where they get these terms from. All of these terms that we use as far as the zodiac was taken from principles of Kemet. All of them. So now, what I want to introduce you to is some of the whistleblowers. There's always a whistleblower when you're dealing with this knowledge. There's always a scholar, a white scholar, a European who's willing to tell on their own people. You know what I'm saying? It's in their nature. There's always one who doesn't mind giving you the information as is. And you got to be able to find those people as well. He goes by the name of Diodorus Siculus. Diodorus, or I should say Siculus. Okay? This guy is one of the first guys to really lay down what Kemet was doing, why Kemet was important. He was one of the first guys to really tell people the truth about what was going on in Egypt and what their stake on history was. He goes on to say, there is perhaps no land where the order and movement of the stars are observed exactly as in Egypt. They have kept records in which these observations have been written down for an incredible number of years. Here one finds information on the relation of each planet to birth of animals and the good or bad influence of each star. So the influence of stars on human affairs can be traced to an ancient Egypt through classical Greece. For the Egyptians, the stars had immense significance. The circumpolar stars that never set in the west were identified as the imperishable ones. And according to the pyramid text, the kings, pharaohs were raised up to heaven to join their company on death, where they would spend eternity free from change or decay. The revered dead had a long-standing association with the stars in early Egypt. So what he goes on to say, what he is telling you, is that nobody had more information about the stars. Nobody had more information about the first science before they even developed mathematics. Nobody had more information than Kemet. This is coming from the mouth of the ones who conquered Kemet. They will tell you themselves, for those of you who like to run to the Europeans for your credit, for your credibility, they will tell you themselves, their master historian will tell you himself that nobody had more accurate information than Kemet about the stars, about the cosmos. I mean, as a matter of fact, they lined up the pyramids with the cosmos. Exactly to the cosmos, to the imperishable stars, the belt of Asar, which they renamed Orion's belt, but it was the belt of Asar. And get this, the planetary alignment for the Giza pyramids, it only happens once every 2,737 years. That's funny, considering we're only in the year 2018. But they were able to line up the pyramids with the exact rotation that only happens 2,730 something years. That should tell you that they've been observing the stars more than 2,730 something years prior to us even creating a date. Prior to us creating the time in which we live now. We were already charting and mapping the stars for over 2,000 years. Going on almost 3,000 years. In order for you to chart it, it's going to have to do this rotation a pretty significant amount of time in order for you to line it up and know it's going to be there every single time. You got to monitor that thing. So now, moving on. These stars line up with the belt of Asar. The belt of Asar. So now one moves around in these constellations. Let's deal with these characters and figure out who these characters like Jesus, Moses, who these people are. In order to talk about Jesus, we got to start with Moses. Let's start with Moses. Here he is, Charlton Heston holding them tablets. We think of Moses, we think of this guy, right? white man coming from down the mountains with the word of God. That's him. But see, when you go into, we don't deal with these drawings. These drawings is too recent. If we're dealing with somebody that old, we got to go back to the earliest depictions of Moses. The earliest depictions of Moses show him like this in Greece. This is how they show him in Greece. But there's something funny about this sculpture because he has horns on his head. Well, damn, what the hell he doing with horns on his head? That's kind of spooky. The only person that I know running around with horns like that is what they call Satan. Huh? He the only one that I see running around with horns on his head. Ain't that about right? Huh? I mean, it ain't no mistake. I mean, I could show you several ones where they show Moses with them tablets all over the place with horns on his head. Why? Why in the world would they depict Moses with horns on his head? There's many assumptions, but I'm going to tell you the truth. We don't deal with assumptions. We don't deal with assumptions. Let's take a look at the zodiac. Huh? Moses represents the constellation of Aries. Aries, the ram's head. Do you understand? They are telling you that the sun is in the constellation of Aries during this time period of what we're talking about. It's a book, an allegorical story about the sun. Moses would be the sun in the constellation of Aries. Are you following me? It's the age of Aries. They were moving into the age of Taurus. The age of Taurus. Okay? The age of the bull. Do you understand? This is why the people were celebrating the golden calf. The golden calf, which is the bull. And Moses was so upset because they were in a time period, they're talking about a time period that was shifting. The sun is moving. You're not supposed to be worshiping the golden calf. We're not in that time period. Early depictions of Greece. It is because that golden calf can also be seen on the walls of Kemet. Look at the headdress. Do you see the headdress? It's the same exact headdress that we find on Het Heru. The same exact headdress. You see, what they wanted you to do is to stop worshiping, stop acknowledging the divine feminine aspect. The divine feminine aspect was always seen as a cow, as a calf. That represents the black woman. They don't want you celebrating the black woman. As a matter of fact, they went to it a further extent to go into the temple of Het Heru, which is where you find also Dendera. They went in there and they shot the noses off of the woman with the cow ears. You see? You see how they did that there? We can't have a black deity, a black female deity walking around. We can't have the people worshiping a black deity. Huh? Oh, no. We're in a patriarch society now. It has to be a man running things. So they took them damn ears of the ram and they put it on Moses because that's who he is. He's the sun when he's in that constellation of Aries. Huh? Oh, y'all gonna get this work. Y'all gonna get this work. We're gonna bring y'all back to the divine feminine and understand the language of your ancestors. And just so we got no mistakes, so you don't say I'm just throwing you drawings. Here it is in stone. Here it is in stone. Huh? The same exact headdress that you see that they represent for the golden calf. They don't want you worshiping the golden calf. They don't want you bowing to the black woman and acknowledging the black woman who is representative of a calf. All right. So now we've covered Aries. We've covered Taurus. We've covered Aries and we've covered Taurus. The entire book is called the Sun Book. The Sun Book, Helios Biblios. So we need some more stories to corroborate this, right? We're going to need some more evidence. Let's keep this thing moving. Let's keep it going. Let's talk about this guy. Let's talk about this guy. I mean, this guy was so phenomenal. They literally called him the Son of God. The Son. The Son. Some of us interpret it as the S-O-N, when in actuality, it was just like Moses, the S-U-N of God. He would be synonymous with the character that which we call Heru. Heru. Heru was represented as a falcon-headed being. A falcon-headed being. Why the falcon? Why is Heru a falcon? I'll tell you why. Because when you're looking up towards the sun in Africa, the one bird that you will see that flies the highest towards the sun is the hawk. Is the hawk. If we are speaking the language of our ancestors, they would use the hawk to represent the sun. Because when you look up at the sun, the bird that you're going to see under that glare is the hawk. How is Jesus a sign of the zodiac? Well, let's go to Luke 22, 10 through 12. Around this time, it's time for Jesus to almost be crucified on the cross, as they said. And he's talking to his disciples. And they said, we're going to have a Last Supper. Where should we prepare the table for dinner? Where should we do this? And Jesus goes on to say, he says, when you have entered the city, a man will meet you carrying a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house that he enters. A man with a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house that he enters. And you shall say to the owner of the house, the teacher says to you, where is the guest room in which I may eat the Passover with my disciples? And he will show you a large furnished upper room. Upper room. Prepare it there. So let's go to the Last Supper. Let's go to the Last Supper. Here you find Jesus sitting down at the Last Supper, and you also see his 12 disciples around him. This picture is significant. Why? Because if you notice, all of the disciples are grouped in groups of three. In groups of three. What do those groups represent? Those groups represent the seasons. The seasons. Winter, spring, summer, fall. In the new regime. Each of them represent a sign of the disciples, 12 signs of the zodiac. Jesus being one of them, representing Aquarius. Or, I'm sorry, Pisces. Jesus, you ever seen this symbol running around? You ever seen that? Jesus is the constellation of Pisces, the fish. He's the fish. Huh? When he tells you to follow the water bearer into his house, he's talking about the constellation of Aquarius, the water bearer. You see, he's telling you, I will come once Aquarius comes. We got to do that first. You understand? It's the sun. Let's go to the chart. You see, Aquarius comes right before Pisces, right before the fish. You got to complete Aquarius before I can come. You got to prepare the table. Follow the water bearer into his house. Follow the water bearer into his house. And then I will arrive. You can't play around with this knowledge. You cannot try and play Kemet in any shape, form, or fashion when it comes to any religion, because they all got their knowledge from Kemet dealing with the cosmos. Jesus is the constellation of Pisces. He's telling you what's going to happen in order for him to return. To complete a solar year, you have to go through the age of Aquarius first, and then Pisces will return. He even says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He goes on to say this: no one comes to the Father except through me. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. This was already done. This was already done in John 14:6, because Heru is the one who introduces you to Asar seated at the throne. As you can see on the right-hand side, in the soul of the woman, the divine feminine energy that he's introducing to Asar with his hand reached out, that is Heru, the sun. No one comes to Asar. No one comes to the Father but through Heru. Heru and Jesus are synonymous. They corrupted the concept and told you that he was a real human being. We knew that these were spiritual concepts describing science, astronomy, and astrology. We were dealing with astronomy and astrology. They gave you anthropomorphized real human beings, and y'all ran with it. And y'all arguing amongst each other about whose imaginary friend is realer. When we as Africans know where the story came from, could break it down for you and tell you how to read the stars to understand what time of day it is. I think miracles, because Jesus performed miracles. Huh? What about the miracles? Well, let's talk about the miracles. Jesus walked on water. He walked on water. My dude, we see that every day. We see the sun walk on water every day. You see the footsteps? Do you see the footsteps? Look at the footsteps, y'all. Huh? Do you see the footsteps? The sun walking on water. Not the S-O-N, the S-U-N, walking on water. It's allegory. Allegory. Let it marinate. Let it marinate. Jesus fake, bruh. I understand. I'm in there. You can't unsee what you just saw. You can't unhear what you just heard. Jesus fake, bro. As well as most of the key players in the Bible. Welcome to the lighthouse. Welcome to the lighthouse. Click the subscribe button. This is the first day of the rest of your life. Moving on. King Solomon. It's no coincidence his name is Solomon. Sol Amon. Sol Amon. Sol meaning son. Amon. Amon, the deity of Kemet. Take both of those, put them together. You get Sol Amon. What is Amon? We've went through this lesson earlier. We're dealing with Amon, Amon Ra. It is a rebirth. It is midnight. It is when the sun is below the earth, so you cannot see the sun. It's midnight. It's dark. It's the spiritual realm of the sun when it sets. That is Amon. It's a time of day. So Solomon is giving you a time of day. King Solomon, once you got the foundation, you could pinpoint all the rest of the stories and put them together. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So we can move a little bit quicker now. Daniel and the lion's den. What constellation are we talking about, family? If we're talking about Daniel and the lion's den. Come on now, put it in the feed. I'm not going to say it. What constellation are we talking about if we're talking about Daniel and the lion's den? Huh? Let's show them why we are the lighthouse. Let's show what the people why we have awakened. Let's show the people who we are. If we are talking about Daniel and the lion's den, who is Daniel? What is the lion's den? I'll wait. My family's smart. My family's smart. Welcome to the lighthouse. Do it make sense to argue with these fools when they're talking to you about Jesus anymore? When you know the truth don't make no sense, do it? It don't even make no sense. Come on, put it in the feed. Put it in the feed. What constellation are we talking about if we're talking about Daniel and the lion's den? Because you know they're not going to give you nothing set in stone. They're always going to give you these drawings. Here they come. Here come the time who with their drawings. You know we talking about the constellation of Leo. Huh? That's what we talking about. Cut it out. Cut it out. Don't tell me some man jumped in there with some lions and he was all good because an angel came down and saved him. That's an anthropomorphized African story that we gave to our children so they could understand the rotation of the sun, so they could understand what time it is. We gave them that story. Huh? As a matter of fact, we did everything as above, so below. Everything that we did that was done in the stars, we were trying to build it on land. That's why when you see the pyramids, they built and they linked up to the cosmos, to Asar's belt. This is why you see the Sphinx or the Heru and Makul. This is why you see the Sphinx lined up with the constellation of Leo. During the time this was built, it would have built directly staring at the constellation of Leo, the lion. You understand now? We were replicating the stars here. That way, we would know where we are on the planet, because as above, so below. If you understood the first science, which they already did because they were calculating it for thousands of years, you could circumnavigate the planet without a problem because you know where you are. African science, African sacred spirituality, African mathematics. We created that. That's what they do. That's what they don't want you to know. That's what they fear. More than anything, they fear you getting this knowledge. They knew I was coming here. They knew I was coming here, and that's why they shut me down on Facebook. They knew. We dropped a couple hints on them. They knew where we was going. Jesus fake, bro. Moses fake, bro. They all fake. This is why you can't find none of the bones. You're never going to find any of the bones of any of the key players in the biblical text because they were never meant to be real human beings. Ever. But when you come in and you conquer somebody's land and you hear these stories and you see these monuments, you think they was real people. And in order for you to get the people to worship you, you anthropomorphize them and say that you the one that's coming back and you are that God. Huh? Ptolemy Soter. You say that you are that being. Bow down and worship me. If not, it's off with your head. No separation of church and state in this time. Off with your head. You worship me. I am the Lord, thy God. Huh? Matter of fact, we're changing the year. It's a new year now. We're starting at 0 AD. AD, meaning Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord. They erased your whole history. This is why I don't argue with these people. This is why I don't go back and forth with these scholars. They don't have the credentials. My whole life was based on Christianity. There's nothing that they can tell me. Most of them that argue that Jesus was real has never walked through the houses of Christianity. Alkaline water, shameless plug, alkaline water. Shungite water. They never walked through those houses. They never walked through those houses. And you can tell by the way they talk. They never walked through the houses. As a matter of fact, you want to know my history? I got no problem with telling you. My history, my credentials. There's a book out written by my grandmother. It's called Aren't You the Family We're Talking to from Heaven? This is my whole life story in this book. This is my receipt right here, written by my grandmother. My whole life in it, from a Christian's perspective. And in this book, you'll see me on the cover as a little boy. Right there, as a little boy. I was in church 6 days a week. 6 days a week, getting the knowledge, learning the ways of Christianity. There's nothing anybody can tell me. So when I give you this knowledge, know that you're getting it from a credible source. A very credible source. Masterful. No ego. Masterful. Facts. So, what I want y'all to understand is that there are forces at play. There are forces at play. Here's a book right here. I don't know if y'all can see that. That's me right there in the window. See me? And this is the name of the book. Sally Mae Jackson. That's my grandmother. She wrote this book. See that? That's my whole life story. My whole life story. Want to see that? This is the shungite water I was talking about. So that's just so you know that I don't tread anywhere. I don't tread anywhere that I haven't walked through the house. There's a lot of scholars who do. Here at the Lighthouse, we try to give you information. We want to give you information that you can take and say, you know what? I can go and do some research on my own to see if he's right. I'm not going to tell you follow me ever. I'm not going to tell you to follow me. That's not my thing. You understand? I'm going to tell you to take this information and do the background research behind it and come back and tell me if I'm right. Huh? Prove me wrong. If the Bible is not a book about the sun, if it does not mean sun book, prove me wrong. God bless Dad. And Teru. Bless the dead. Pau and Teru. So what I want to say is, take this information, run with it. Run with it. Jesus is fake. Jesus is fake. Those stories that was written were anthropomorphized stories that you can use and you can apply them in your life, but they were not meant to be dealt with on a human level to think that you can walk on water. There are limitations. And a lot of these churches will sell you things that you can do and tell you that you can do them, but you cannot, because they were operations of the sun. You need to know the difference between the two. You need to know what was allegorical, what was metaphorical about the sun, and what were things and principles that you can take in your everyday life. You understand? The story wasn't written about an actual human being, and that's what you need to understand. Anybody who is trying to pass that on is trying to deceive you. Trying to deceive you. We don't do this for likes, shares, comments. We weren't even doing this for money. I was giving y'all knowledge for 3 straight years without ever even putting a PayPal up. I was asked to put a PayPal up by the followers. That's the difference between me and these other people. I can't speak for them. I just know my walk. And I got receipts of the houses that I've walked through. So with that being said, if this video did anything for you, if it did anything for you, for your family, feel free to donate to the PayPal. The PayPal is JAMAARMilton@gmail.com. We are still giving out meditation bracelets to everybody. You're not giving something for nothing. You know, we are shipping out these power bracelets here. This is what we use when we meditate in the morning. They are wrapped in copper and brass in the 9 ether curl. So it's giving you a great conductivity of electromagnetic fields on your wrist. So when I play these natural sounds, you can feel them even through the bracelet. So I also want to shout out a couple of people. Shout out to the Ancient Kemetic Store. That's where I got my hoodie from. I want to shout out all my sponsors. You know, we got Black some love. Mellow Miracle for your lotion and for the package that you've been sending me. I appreciate it. They also sent me a body scrub. They make nice body scrubs, and they also make beard oil. Shout out to them. Shout out to my brother Jabari Osaze. We're reading his book, 7 Little White Lies. 7 Little White Lies. This is a great book that I advise everybody go out and read. It basically breaks down the misconceptions and the lies that we've been told about Africans and their culture. I highly advise picking that book up. Who else? I want to shout out Melody Mitchell. She's the one who makes these plates here. Everything that you see around me is from your people, your family in the lighthouse that created these things for me. She created these plates here, and they're coasters. You can put your plates and your glasses on them. You know, she created them with my logo. Every time, shout out to Joe Beard. He's a wonderful artist, and he made this beautiful picture of the divine feminine for me. And her afro are positive words of affirmation, all the fruits of the spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith, gentleness, and self-control. He made this artwork and sent it to me. I appreciate him for this. He's a wonderful artist. Hit him up. If you're on the feed, Jamario, please put your link so that people can reach out to you and get some artwork, some beautiful black artwork. You know? Who else do I want to shout out? Shout out Latifah Foster. If you're looking into getting a Reiki reading done, you want to shout
This is an A1.
Hallelujah. A condition alive. King James of the dollar. Not impressed by a dollar. Yeah. You're in my
Let's feel the vibration. Come on in, family. Peace, 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 peace. Thank you, thank you. That's Incense and Kama Sutra coming soon. Incense and Kama Sutra. I know all enough. You know, if you was on my Instagram last night, talking about musical lit, talking about water, man. Talking about water memory. What is memory? Planetary, but it sounds crazy, right? Sounds crazy. Water memory? You see, we think that only human beings have the capability to think, right? That's how we've been taught. We're the smartest things running around here. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. Water memory. I fell upon this because I was going through once again the force of my eye. And one of the laws, it's actually law number 36. And as we know, number 36 is what number actually? When you're dealing with number 36, you already know, you put it in the feed. The 3 and the 6 is the 9. The 3 and the 6 is the 9. And law number 36 or law number 9 says, I keep the waters pure. One of the negative affirmations of Ma'at is I keep the waters pure. This is interesting. I keep the waters pure. So it's only natural that we delve into what purity really looks like. Because if the people of Kemet were striving to keep the waters pure, what are we doing? If the actions they were taking already were keeping the waters pure, what exactly are we doing with our water? Why is it key to keep the waters pure? Water. Why is water so special? I mean, considering the body is made of 72% water, it's a pretty important factor in life as we know it, right? When we look at water, I mean, we look at water as pretty much it's all the same depending upon what you have in it, right? You know, it's pretty the same. Let's look at how we get our water. Our water comes through the pipes. We turn on the faucet, right? We turn on the faucet and it comes through the pipe filtration system. You know, we've even gone to the extent now of our water and we get them from water bottles, right? And these are supposed to be the pure water. This is water that's supposed to be filtered, right? Filtered water. And there's all different ways that we get our filtered water, whether by the bottle, whether by the jug, or whether we filter those pipes that are coming in. we're getting filtered water. But what I'm here to tell you today is that there's a difference between filtered water and pure water. Two totally different things. Because see, the people of Kemet, the people in Africa didn't have filtered water. They didn't have filtered water. They had pure water. They had pure water. What I'm here to tell you today is that water, aside from being the most important element that we have, if we're looking for life on any other planet, the first thing that we're looking for is the presence of water. There is no life without water. There is no life without water. There is no life without water. What I'm here to tell you today is that water has a memory. Water is a living thing. It is a living thing. In fact, in Kemet, when you go back and you see the early baptisms and they were pouring water on our people to baptize them, they used the symbol of the Ankh running down that person. You understand? They used the Ankh. It was a symbol of life, water. Okay? So you need to understand that water is a living thing. And this living thing has a memory. It remembers what it goes through. It picks up information. In fact, it picks up more information than you. It picks up more information than you. Water takes the shape of any container that it's in. It immediately changes its state and remembers what it's supposed to do. This is what water does. The problem with our water is that before it gets to us, when we consume it, it's not pure. It's gone through a system that it was not designed to do, and it is not ready for human consumption when we consume it. If you go to super hot places like Africa, India, right? You don't see these people walking around with a boatload of water bottles. And it's hot. It's hotter there than it is here. But they don't walk around with all these water bottles. Why? Why? How come these people aren't drinking so much water? Because it's a different type of water. It's a different type of water. Everywhere you go, there's a different type of water. No matter what continent you're on. Some are more pure than others. The reason why we have to drink so much water is because it is not pure water. By the time we get it, the nutrients that are supposed to be in the water are not there, which is why it requires us to drink more. This is why the American FDA, they want you to drink 8 glasses of water a day. You don't need 8 glasses of water a day if you're drinking pure water. I'm here to tell you, you really only need 1 glass a day of pure water. And I'm going to show you the difference between pure water and filtered water. All filtered water, same process. They're removing and altering the DNA and the molecular structure of the water. They're altering the DNA and the molecular structure of the water that you drink. Now, the uninformed on here who might go left with this, they say, what are you talking about? H2O is H2O. I said molecular structure in the DNA of the water, molecular composition. Let me break that down for you. The molecular composition is H2O. The molecular structure is how you arrange those 3 molecules. It's how you arrange those 3 molecules. This is a water molecule. This is a water molecule. Water's a powerful thing. It's the only molecule that we have today that can take three different forms: solid, liquid, and gas. It's the only one. It's the only molecule that can exist in three different states, three different forms. That is the water molecule: solid, liquid, and gas. So here you have the water molecule, H2O, two hydrogen molecules, one oxygen molecule. Okay? What happens is you can combine these different water molecules together and it will form clusters, such as this. It will form clusters. So when you drink your water, you're drinking clusters of water molecules. Understand? Are you with me so far? On the left, you are seeing a cluster of the single formation of this molecule here. Okay? Since we can't see molecules with the naked eye, we see the diagram on the right and how it forms a pattern with these clusters. Okay? The problem is these clusters, like I said, have memory. So they take the shape and the form of whatever memory you give to it, whatever experience you give to that water. So let me show you an example. Here on the left, you have a regular cluster of water. And here on the right, you have an ionized water cluster where it compacts, right? It compacts. So if you want to see that in real life, here's a cluster of water. You see the star shape? That's what it looks like. Okay. In fact, what you're looking at is a water molecule that's been listening to Beethoven all day. That's what that molecule is. That's a molecule that's been listening to classical music, Beethoven. This is a molecule that's been listening to Mozart. This is a water molecule that's been listening to Mozart. Same water, different shape, different color. Simply because of the vibrations that it's going through. Simply because of the experiences that it's going through. It changes shape, it changes color. It changes its molecular structure, not the molecular composition. Here is that same molecule, that same water, listening to heavy metal music. Same molecule. Same thing. But look at its molecular structure. It's still water. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference because it's still water. You with me? So what happens is we get our water, our nice pure water, as they say. Before it gets to us, it goes through this. It goes through these right angle turns and these bends, right? Through a piping system. Nowadays, we have a plastic piping system, right? PVC pipes, cheap ones. That's what we have now running through our houses, okay? The problem with this is take those in real, true nature. It's not a stressful environment for water in true nature. In true nature, it runs down the mountainside, nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. You see that? There's no right angle turns in true nature. There's no pressure in true nature with right angle turns. Artificial pressure. See? It's nice and smooth. By the time we get it, it's already running through the valley, nice and smooth. And that's the water that we're supposed to be drinking. You see? It doesn't matter if you filter it. Filtering is just taking out the stones and what they call bacteria. But it is not pure. It is not rested water. See, when it runs down the mountain like this, it implodes. It implodes. And as it implodes, it becomes into a restful state in the valley, which is capable of drinking. It is sufficient for the human body, and the human body metabolizes it better. You see? So instead of having water in clusters, in large clusters, we get water that's been ionized and sitting in the sun, right? True, pure water. So, the diaspora of what is happening is that the characteristics that the water is going through, the stress levels that the water is going through at a 72% composition within our bodies is causing us to experience the same things that the water is going through. Because see, we're not realizing that we are the water. We're more of the water than we are matter, more than we are space. We're more of the water than anything. So whatever the water goes through, we become. Do you understand? Do you understand? Whatever the water goes through before it reaches you, it's picking up that information. It is remembering that information. This is why when you go to the waters, if you ever swam down a mountainside, if you ever swam in the waters right next to a waterfall, that water is real silky. It's real smooth. You ever seen water in the valley? It's silky smooth water. The water that we shower with, it feels like rocks hitting your skin because of what it's gone through. We have to take these lessons more seriously than any other lessons that they've been. You can eat all the herbs you want or whatever you want. It don't matter. It don't matter. You can put up whatever concoctions, potions, whatever people want to put together for holistic healing. They can put all that stuff together. If you are not drinking the right water, none of that stuff is going to move to the places that it needs to go to edify the body, which is why people are still sick, even though they're taking the same damn supplements, even though they're eating the same damn vegetarian foods, the same damn herbs. They're washing it down with garbage, unionized, unalkaline water. So it's never reaching the places that it's supposed to hit to provide healing for the body. You see? These scholars ain't telling you that. They're not going to tell you that. Either because they haven't done the knowledge on it, right? Or they just don't care. Because see, water memory is one of the sciences that the American Society of Science doesn't acknowledge at all. They don't deal with this practice at all. Even though we're made of 72% water, they don't think it's important to study water memory. They don't think it's important to study the composition of water and what it actually does. We just take it for granted. Even though water can find its way and through the least amount of resistance, no matter what, it's the only molecule that we have that can exist in 3 different planes at the same damn time and separate itself from itself. Right? In the beginning, what did it say that God did? He separated the waters. Water is the only molecule that can do that. Out of all of the ones on the damn on the chart, water is the only one. Out of earth, wind, fire, air, water is the only one that separates itself from solid to liquid to gas. So people ask you, what happened in the afterlife? That's what happens in the afterlife. You're going to be what you already are, water. Water is going to separate itself into a solid, a liquid, a gas. That's what happens. You go back to your gaseous state. But that's a whole nother lesson. But see, you got to have to get this foundation before I can take you to the afterlife or what happens to water in the afterlife. Because you can see it if you look around. But anyway, water. You say, well, Brother JAMAAR, if we all drinking bad water, what should we do? What are we going to do with that? See, I'm not one of those guys that's just going to give you a problem. Anybody can do that. We got a lot of that going on in the conscious community. We like to highlight the problems and we don't like to think about what are the solutions. This is how you're supposed to drink water. And I'm going to tell you how you're supposed to get your water. No matter what water you get, right? Doesn't matter. The water that you get, you can change its molecular structure by simply letting it sit, letting it settle to the temperature, to the environment, to room temperature. Not too hot, not too cold. Room temperature is how you're supposed to drink your water. You have to let your water sit. Okay? In India, when they get their water, they don't drink anything straight from the pipe. Nothing straight from the pipe. They take it and they put it in copper bowls. They take the water and they put it in a copper bowl and they let it sit. While it's sitting in the copper bowl, because you know copper is a great conductor of electromagnetivity, right? Copper is a great conductor of electricity, right? While it's in the bowl, they worship the water. They praise the water and they give it good vibrations. Ah! Ah! They raise the frequency in the room. Huh? Huh? You see, my glass a day of water that I get, it ain't gonna happen until I raise the frequency in the room, if you notice. You see, I don't start my show off drinking water. I start my videos off raising the vibration in the room so that the water is prepared, you see, before it's consumed by the body. And I only need 1 glass a day. I only need 1 glass. I'm rarely thirsty. Rarely. You know? See, what happens is when you drink too much water, the body gets confused. A lot of us drink too much water. We're drinking water all the time because that's what the American society tells you to do. That's what the Tom who tell you that you're supposed to do. You got to keep drinking water, keep drinking water, keep drinking water, or you're going to be dehydrated. No, you're not. If you drink the right water, you will not be dehydrated. They're trying to tell you that there's no difference between one water and the next, and that's simply not true. As this water is flowing through the mountains, as this water is flowing through the earth, it's picking up information from the earth. It's picking up information from the universe. You understand? This water comes from the sky. It comes from the clouds. It's picking up information from the air. Huh? Remember, the water molecules first exist as oxygen and hydrogen. That water is coming from the top, the tip top of the atmosphere, picking up information on its way down. It touches the earth. It touches the earth. It touches the stones, the mountains. It's picking up information in a vibration and a frequency, vibrating in the tone of B flat, by the way, coming down the mountains, down into the valley, where it receives its restful state. It is now complete. And then here comes mankind. We're going to now take that water, pressurize it, make it go through stressful environment, turns up, down. It didn't even go through that on its way down here through the damn universe. It didn't even do that. You understand? It was already pure. It was ready. It was ready. All you had to do was take it and put it in a copper bowl. You say, well, what is copper? What's so significant about copper? Copper is an antimicrobial. It's an antimicrobial. So it disinfects itself every couple of hours. You see? Oh, yeah, I didn't know that, huh? You take copper. Hospitals used to use copper doorknobs. They used to use copper doorknobs. You see? Back in the day, when you went to the old school hospitals, the door, everything was out of copper. The railings, everything was made of copper. You see? You see that? Copper and brass, they impede bacterial growth. While aluminum and stainless steel let the bacteria run wild. Huh? Within 15 minutes, the copper had already partially disinfected itself. Woo! Huh? Copper, brass vessels release a small amount of copper ions into stored water, thus killing fecal bacteria. Counts as high as 1 million bacteria per millimeter. Copper sulfate mixed with lime is used as a fungicide and anti-helminthic. Wow. Wow. Now you see why the people in India had those copper bowls laying around? Huh? Now you see why that ancient African culture is so rich there when they're dealing with holistic healing? Huh? Huh? Oh, you thought they was just being cheap, huh? Huh? You thought the copper chains and the copper jewelry, huh, was less valuable. That's what they taught you? You see? They gave you the okie doke. That's how they keep you sick. That's it. They're gonna keep you sick. You know I ain't gonna come on here and give y'all no damn silver and gold. Oh. Why do you think we're using two-tone copper and brass? We already got these lessons on deck. You're welcome. I love you too. Welcome to the lighthouse. Welcome to the lighthouse. Let's talk about the benefits of ionized water, how it helps the body out. It moistens the tissues for your mouth, your eyes, and your nose. It protects your body organs and tissues, and it helps prevent constipation. That's key, because many of us are constipated and don't even know it. Many of us can't lose weight because we're retaining fecal matter within our bodies because of the water that we drink. It does not expel the fecal matter. You understand? It helps to dissolve minerals and other nutrients to make them accessible to the body. It regulates body temperature, lubricates the joints. Big one there. Big one there. A lot of people having elbow pain, back pain, right? Hip pain. Waking up, your neck ain't right. Why? Why? That's why. It's the water you're drinking. Not the amount of water, the kind of water. Reduces the burden of kidneys and liver by flushing out waste products. And it carries nutrients and oxygen to the cells. Key. Key. You see that? These are things that's not being taught to us. They just say, yeah, drink a whole lot of water, drink a whole lot of water. You're confusing your body when you drink a whole lot of water. It was never meant to do that. You're drinking too much. Don't you know that drinking too much flushes out the sodium within your body and it causes the brain to swell? This is why you have headaches. This is why you have a headache every other day. Not because of the amount of water that you drink. They say, oh, yeah, you got a headache. Yeah, you should drink some water. No, it's because you're drinking it. You're drinking it all the freaking time and you're not drinking the good water. You see? You want to stop your headaches? Get you a good glass of some alkaline water. Let it sit. Huh? Exalt your water. Exalt your water. Why do you think they pray over food? Huh? Why do you think they pray over food? That's the okie doke that religion gave you. When you sit down and you say, oh, God bless this food, man, all you're doing is invoking positive energy into what you're about to consume. That's all you're doing. See, they take it and they give you technology. They'll tell you that Jesus did it. They'll tell you that Jesus did it. But really, you did it. You're connected to the universe. You're 72% water. Do you not have the ability to affect water? If you're percent water, what happens when water is in contact with water? This is science, basic science. I just taught you. It forms clusters, right? So now, what if the clusters that you have within your body are vibrating on a positive level already? How do you think it's going to affect this little glass of water? Huh? If I'm 72% water and I'm vibrating higher than this water, what do you think it's going to do to this water when this water enters my system? What do you think I can do to this water before I even drink it? I'm invoking positive vibrations into my water. I don't know if y'all can see this, but even with me talking, you can see the bubbles forming in the water. You ever seen bubbles form? You ever seen bubbles form like that? You see my alkalines, my shungite stone? Water don't look like that. I bet you your water out the faucet don't look like that with those electrons and those clusters. You see the clusters? Look, look, look at that. You can see the damn water molecules. Look at that. Pure water. It looked like I'm drinking soda. That's the difference. And you can see that visually with your own eyes. So what's happening is my body is becoming ionized. It's becoming ionized. The water is giving me energy. You can have a glass of water before you even have breakfast. You shouldn't even be having breakfast until like 12 in the afternoon. Really, when you wake up, your first thing that you should have within your body is a good, strong glass of settled, peaceful water. Settled, peaceful water that's been sitting at the room temperature for quite some time. Water that you have invoked powerful energy into, but ingested. This is what usually you'll see my glass, and it's always sitting right here. It's always sitting right here, and it's always filled. It's chilling. You understand? I can get it right from the faucet, let it run over my ice. Shungite stone. The shungite stone is what will alkaline your water. So what I want you to understand is when you're dealing with these water molecules, these water molecules, it doesn't matter. You don't have to touch them in order to change their molecular state. What you're looking at right now is same water from three different science students. Okay. This is one molecule. Here's another molecule. Here's another molecule. All three students were given the same water, right? Same water. One had it in a syringe. Another one had it in a plastic bottle. And I think another one had it in a glass jar. And all three of these students went through different experiences during their day. When they came back and tested the water, this is what the same water remembers everything that it goes through. I would almost incorporate water as being the all-seeing eye. It's the all-seeing eye. Look at it. Look at it. Water is the eye that sees everything. 72% of the earth is made of water. The air that you breathe is a less dense water. Everything. It's all around. It sees everything. That is the all-seeing eye. That is how we are all connected by water. You see that? You ever look at the iris of your eyeball? You ever look at your eye? You see that? We are all connected by water. This is why people in the same community that's drinking the water go through the same things because of how water affects them. It's universal. It gives a fingerprint. Okay? We have to learn the difference between water that is acidic and water that is alkaline. Because if we learn the difference between the water that is acidic and the water that is alkaline, we learn the difference between the body that is acidic and the body that is alkaline. Because the majority of the body is made up of the water. This is basic science. The reason why trees grow the way they grow is because of the water. It's because of the water. The water wants to be ionized. The water wants to be pure. You see, the tree just conforms to what the water tells it to do. You understand? The tree conforms to what the water tells it to do, just as we would if we would allow ourselves to be a vessel for pure water. It reaches towards the sun. It's bang the flow of the water. The water understands that there's least resistance. It always flows towards least resistance. The tree, the leaf, is just a vessel. And it's going towards the area of least resistance. See? When it forms these clusters, when they are ionized clusters, they're smaller. They're smaller. So it allows whatever vessel that it's in to be larger. Man, I love this research. Water memory. Water memory. It's everything. It's probably one of the most important keys to life. Really. It affects how the brain, the neurons in the brain react, how quickly they react. It cleans out your system. It's everything. It's you. Like Bruce Lee said, be like water. They asked Bruce Lee, they say, yo, how do you do what you do? Your style is so impeccable. It's, there's really no limit to what it can do in the style you've created. He said, be like water. He said, the water, you put it in a cup, it becomes the cup. You put the water in the teapot, it becomes the teapot. And then he smiled and said, be water, my friends. Be water. I advise you to do some research on your own as to water and what it really does. I advise you to do that research. Learn how to take care of your water and keep your waters pure. It's key. Yeah, I needed this lesson. Too. Because I don't think we really understood the life that water has. And to a certain extent, I think that the powers that are administrating our water know this. And they are, if not, they are keeping the good stuff for themselves. So we have to realize that we have the power to invoke positivity, because when our water comes to us, it's hurt. You know what I'm saying? Our water has been through a traumatic experience by the time it gets to us. And we have to treat it with respect. We have to treat it with love. And ultimately, it will give that back to us, right? It's just like if you took a pet from the animal shelter that's gone through something, right? Before you allow it to be in your home, before you allow it to go where it wants to go and be free, at first you're going to have to show it a lot of love, a lot of care, right? You're going to have to show it a lot of attention. And that's what we need to do with anything that we put in our bodies. Anything that we put in our bodies, we have to show it love before we put it into our bodies. So, law number 36, positive affirmation number 9 of the 42 laws of Ma'at: keep the waters pure. Keep your waters pure. You are water. So, with that being said, I want to give a huge shout out to Latifah Foster. Latifah Foster has created our Lighthouse TV group on Facebook. So if you would like to be a part of the Lighthouse group where we share information with one another, some of you have done research on your own and you would like to share it with the family, that is the group for you. So search for it on Facebook, or you can send me a text or a message, and I will send you the link to be able to link up to the Lighthouse group on Facebook. We'd all just been sharing, a lot of people, they already hopped on already and they just been banging away. And I appreciate y'all, for sharing with one another, because it helps to build a community. And you guys been showing me a lot of love. Like, I felt really good yesterday. Y'all really made my day with all the things y'all was saying on Facebook. You know what I mean? I was watching, I was in and out running and busy, but I saw it and I was just like, wow, I really appreciate the support, man, that you guys been giving me over the course of this time while we're in Facebook jail. You know what I'm saying? When we get back, we're going to come back. We're going to come back hard on Facebook as well and stream simultaneously on Facebook and YouTube. So I appreciate everybody that's been participating in that. Yes, we do still have a few power bracelets left. If you're looking for the copper and brass power bracelets. As I said, we just went over the water. You know, you definitely want to have some copy in your life, man. So we still have some of that, and we're moving those there for $50. Anybody that donates $50 or more to the Lighthouse PayPal, that's JAMAARMilton@gmail.com is the Lighthouse PayPal. Anybody that donates that will get one of these beautiful copper and brass power bracelets in the 9 ether curl. Okay, everybody that's been posting their pictures of their bracelets, you know, and post them in the group, y'all. Show the pictures of everybody that's been getting their bracelets. Shout out to everybody that sent me their pictures already, rocking their power bracelets. You know, I really appreciate that, and it helps so we can get our new server, our new computers. You know, we're trying to get a laptop as well, so that we can really make this mobile and move to the new studio where we're going to be giving more lessons and more powerful teachings. While you're on here, while you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, the little thumbs up. That helps us to be on top when we're doing our live feed. And make sure that you hit the subscribe button as well with the little bell next to it. That allows you to get notifications when the videos are on for the Lighthouse. YouTube works a little bit differently, so you kind of got to hit every single one. So hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get the notifications on your phone or whatever it may be. With that being said, let's give some shout outs. While we still streaming. Because yesterday they cut me off. So hopefully we can rock out today. Shout out to somebody live donating the Lighthouse, Clinton Jordan, Melody Mitchell.
These are not just speakers. These are thinkers, forged in fire. Warriors of words stepping into destiny. Welcome to the Coliseum of arguments, where logic clashes with conviction and ideas spill like blood in the sand. 16 titans, 16 minds, one path to immortality. They come seeking truth, they fight for redemption, they burn for revenge. Featuring the intellectual elite of the Titans Debate League. Every round a new war, every word a new weapon. Every titan ready to fall or rise in glory. This is not debate, this is combat. Step into the Coliseum of arguments. Only the brave speak here. Are you not entertained?
CNG, I see you. I see you. Thank you. A Haley from Detroit. Detroit is in the building. Detroit's a lot of conscious people heavy. Barbara Fitz. Yeah, that beat is classic, right? It's like it got that 90s feel to it. You know, that's why I like Joey Badass, man. He kind of the last of a dying breed, really. He the last one that's holding it down, that's actually spitting something. So on a conscious level, you know, we need more balance. We need more of that. We need more Joey Badass. Adrian Barden, I see you. Peace, Queen. I love you. Thank you for being on. Peace. Grand Rising. Rising Lily, 234. Greetings. I see you. Peace, Queen. How we feeling this morning? We also have Tanisha Black as one of the first 9. I see you. Unconscious, right? I say the conscious community, just in general, with it throughout the universe, right? When you become aware of self, when you become aware of who you are, right? You're going to run into some trials and tribulations. You're going to run into people or things or even places that don't vibe with you, that don't vibrate with you, right? And you go through a stage, especially when you first awaken, where you start to have struggles in these areas, right? Relationships, friends, right? And certain things that you used to do, or certain places that you used to hang out, certain people that you used to vibe with, you no longer vibe with anymore, right? Things change. And that's all according to nature, right? It's supposed to at the end of the day. So we find ourselves in this paradigm where we're now looking for love in the early stages of consciousness, right? And I'm going to go into this a little bit to help you guys to redefine what love is, because now that you've left out of the matrix, their definition of love is very different from how you see it now. So we have to address some of these issues. So let's deal with the dictionary and let's see what it says about love. Okay. Love is an intense feeling of deep affection. Okay. And it's synonymous with fondness, tenderness, warmth, intimacy, attachment. That's a big one. Endearment, and more. Love is a person or a thing that one loves. You see, you know you're dealing with a strong word when they use the word to define it. A person or a thing that one loves is love. Is synonymous with beloved or loved one, love of oneself, dear, dearest, dear one, darling, sweetheart, sweet angel, honey, and more. Then it goes down to this as a verb is to feel a deep or romantic or sexual attachment to someone. Care very much for, feel deep affection for, hold very dear, adore, think the world of, be devoted to, dote on, idolize, worship, and more. So, what I want you to do as I'm going through this course today, I want you to think about what you yourself, how do you define love, right? In yourself, how do you define it? Because this is one of those areas where there seems to be blurred lines, right? They're using love to actually describe love. Why? Because they really don't have a clear definition on how to define it. That's what it is. And I think this is why, not even I know this is why we have so much confusion when we become conscious in relationships and how we deal with our new environment, because we don't know how to love. We don't know how to find it. And I think that this is one of the problems that we have, is because when we're all trying to find love as if love is lost. As if love is lost. I'm sure when we find love probably says, I was always right here. Huh? If we had to talk to love wouldn't feel like they was lost. I'm sure love would say, I always been here. I always been around. Huh? So we got to really deal with this. Before I get what we told about love, we got to lay down the right law. We got to deal with what our ancestors define love as. So let's get to it. We're dealing with love. We're dealing with Osset. We're dealing with Osset. Osset is the embodiment of those intuitive and instinctive faculties that lay deep within our psyche. People in whom this faculty is strongly developed are very protective, caring, and nurturing. These qualities amongst the community and wives. Okay. So now, a lot of our women, many of our women, they go through this issue. Definition of what they felt love was, and then as it changed, right? Under the previous definition, when you deal with is it the top Are we back? Let's see if we back. Have to switch it up on these guys. If we back, put your nines up. You get in the chat. All right, cool. So when you become conscious, love is as a priority now. That's not the priority. The priority becomes more of a spiritual environment where information, right, becomes priority, right? Intelligence, right? The use of that information becomes priority. This is the early stages of consciousness, okay? Now, this changes over time, but I need you to understand that change is good. Change is good. You see, because we've been doing the same old thing for too long, right? And you realize that we need to make some changes, right? So you have to welcome that change when it comes in, right? You have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable, huh? Many of us, when we run into uncomfortable situation, that's when fear creeps in. And fear is the opposite of what? Love, okay? There's only two emotions that you actually really have. That's love and that's fear, okay? So when you become uncertain, which you're going to have a lot of that in consciousness, fear creeps in, right? And then you're uncertain as to whether you are able to love, if you're capable of loving this person, or if this person is capable of loving you. Okay? And this is completely normal, right? So when we're dealing with our set, we have to give you balance. We have to give you duality. If we're dealing with our set, we're also dealing with a SAR. We're also dealing with a SAR, her counterpart, her consort. Okay? If you look in the Medu Nature, when you look at a SAR, you look at a set rather, this is how a set is spelled. For those of you who have the Let the Ancestors Speak and you like to, recognize her when you see her on the walls of Kemet. Okay, the symbols of the name of a set are the throne. That's how you can figure out whether you're dealing with a set. Sometimes we get a set confused with Ma'at. Okay, a set has the throne on the top of her head, and the phonetic sign which is the phonetic sign for T, and the determinative egg. Okay, she has the phonetic sign for T, which is that little loaf. You see that little loaf there? That's the T. Okay, and then the determinative egg. Okay, and the symbol of motherhood and the seated female as a determinative as well. Okay, so that's how you can recognize set in the Medu Nature, or Ast, sometimes they say. She also happens to be who you see on my hat here. That is Ast. Okay, if you take a look closely, you'll see she has a throne on the top of her head. See if you can see that. She has a throne on the top of her head. Okay, so it's important that you realize that if she's a symbol of love, she's a symbol of motherhood, and she has the throne on the top of her head, that's for a reason. Okay, the divine feminine energy is very conducive when it comes to the aspect of what love actually represents. Okay, this is something, if they know who they are, right, put a star next to that, they can really embody what this truly is. Okay, and we're going to get into a little bit of history too about this before we really dig in. But Ast, another name for Ast or Set, is Marie, Meri. Okay, Marie. And Marie, as we all know, Ast was the one who put together or resurrected Asar. man, well, there ain't that much love you can really give more than that. You know, she brought him back to life. Do you understand? She took the pieces he was cut into pieces by a Set. Okay? And she took those pieces and put them back together, all the limbs of his body, and resurrected him. Here she is with Ampu. Okay? And she is resurrecting Asar. Okay? 9 months later, they gave birth to what we have as Heru. Okay? Heru was born destined to battle his uncle Setek or Set. Set is the one who destroyed his father. Okay? Reclaim his father Asar's kingdom and bring back order. You guys are the Herus. We are the Herus. Herus you're supposed to self-personify with yourself. Heru grows up and decides it's time to face his uncle Setek in the battle for the throne of Kemet. Now, this story might sound familiar to you. It might sound familiar because it's the same story that they gave to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ dies. He's supposed to be resurrected, but in the meantime, he's down there fighting the devil so that he can reclaim the throne. Take back the keys from the devil. Huh? Sound familiar? You see? When they try to tell you that Heru is Jesus, yeah, that's one and the same. That's a whole nother story. We already know they stole that story from us. But moving on, we're dealing with Mary today. Let's tie in Mary, because Mary is exactly who she is. She's our Set. She is Marie. That is Marie. Okay? The embodiment of what they call love. Remember? Mary was infatuated with her son, Jesus. Right? She loved Jesus. Right? They took that story from Oset's love for Heru. You understand? The unconditional love. They later changed the black Madonna to the white Madonna. You see, you always know the real thing because it's going to be written in stone, and later on, you'll find some drawings pop up, and you go from Marie, which means beloved in the Medu Neter, to Mary, which we have now. Okay? Or Set is the original aspect of love. Okay? One of my sources I'm going to be reading from is the Egyptian grammar book for Gardner, where you can go into the back and you can get the dictionary. Okay? And you can actually look up the word that I'm speaking in reference to. Okay? Let's find it in the Medu Neter here. That way we don't have any confusion as to where this word actually comes from. So I'm going to show it to you guys here. One of the words for Egypt was Ta-Marie, which means, as you see here, love. Okay? The beloved. You know how they say beloved Mary? Here you see Ta-Marie. Marie, right? It could be in love, right? Ta-Marie, a name of Egypt. See that? So this is where they get the concept of Mary from. Okay? That's where they get it from. We had it first. So, now that we've gotten that straightened out, before anybody tries to usurp Mary into this situation, right, or Jesus into this situation as the ultimate sign of love, I have to make sure that I establish that they got that from our story first, okay? Because this is the problem. This is why we have the situations that we have now, because why? We're looking for love outside of ourselves, okay? All of the different religions take their aspect of Mary or Aset from us, as you can see. The Virgin Mother or the aspect of love, and you can go all the way down the line from Christ to Buddha to Krishna, Hermes, Sakai, Yasoda, right? They all got that first and foremost from Marie. Okay? So let's be clear. Let's be clear of where they got that from. Here you have the original drawing here. Like I told you, it's always going to be set in stone of Aset resurrecting Asar. And you have his Ba and his Ka, which is those birds above him, right? That will represent his soul, his spirit, right? That's his Ba. Okay? So she's resurrecting him and bringing him back to life, already written in stone. Okay? So this is the first time that we see true love at its best. It's an unconditional love, even after death. You can't really get in any worse condition than that. You know, the biblical text says that there's no greater love than for somebody to give their life up for someone, right? But here in our text, it shows that the love was to be unconditional, whether someone's dead or whether someone's alive. That is an unconditional love. That's what the original definition of unconditional was love even after death. Okay? There are even some animals in nature, they will only mate once. Even if their mate dies, they will not mate again. Okay? An unconditional love. Okay? So for many of us, if we look at love, right, we like to associate love with how a person treats us, right? We associate love with how a person treats us. We don't love that person unless they treat us a certain way, right? Right? But what if I told you that's only the last leg of love? That's only the last leg of love, right? There are some people who are incapable of treating you the way that you want to be treated. Actual fact. They're just incapable, right? It all depends upon your values and what you value in life. Love is first and foremost based on how you feel about and how you want to nurture that person. Let's go back to a set. As you see here, people in whom this faculty is strongly developed are protective, caring, and nurturing, right? Protective, caring, and nurturing, right? Now, before you can be protective, caring, and nurturing to someone else, you have to first be protective, caring, and nurturing of yourself. First and foremost, let's be clear. Let's be clear. I love this song that Mary J did when she first came out. Right? She said, "How can I love somebody else? Y'all know, come on now. If I can't love myself enough to know, right, when it's time to let go." Right? We know that song, right? She says, "All I really want is to be." We know that song. She's speaking the truth there, because you can't love somebody until you first love yourself. This is what we're trying to teach, especially amongst Black people, because Black people have a problem with loving themselves. Loving themselves, right? They don't love themselves, and they expect someone else to love them when they don't love themselves. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint, especially for my women here, because I know our women suffer from low self-esteem. They do, as a collective. And we have to talk about this. We have to be willing to talk about it, right? I'm going to tell you something about a brother. Let me tell you something about the divine masculine. You could have the baddest women out there, and they can't find a man. baddest women, most beautiful, gorgeous women. They can't find a man, right? Then you can find somebody that's average or even below average of what we might think is beauty, right? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? These women will go on and get married, have successful relationships, and live happy lives. Why is that? I'm going to tell you why from a man's perspective. Because a man will find a woman with good self-esteem who loves herself more attractive than a woman who's bad and has no pride or class in herself. That's on the gram, throwing out tits and butt all day, right? You see, a man might fall to sexual desires with that woman, but he's not wifing her up. Nope. Because he knows. That's a characteristic of low. That's one of the things that men have intuitively. We don't get fooled by that. We understand what good self-esteem looks like. That's one thing that we got. Huh? We'll go for the woman that truly respects herself. We will go for the woman. We will wife up the woman that we know intuitively loves herself enough, right? To not put herself in those positions, to not put herself out there like that. That's a fact. But women don't understand that. Most, I would say. They fall to the cattiness, right? A back and forth trying to compete with another woman. And that's because they don't have love of themselves. I've seen 400-500-pound women get married, right? No problem. No problem in their relationship. Why? Because she's confident. She's confident. She'll go and throw on them tight jeans, what? And walk down that block and strut her stuff. Don't care. Don't care. It's confidence. You understand? She has a love for herself. Therefore, she can love someone else in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. And you know what? She's easy to be loved. Easy to be loved because she already loves herself. She doesn't need the love, but she welcomes it. She don't need it though. You see? You ever been around somebody that's needy? Huh? That's needy? Like, oh, here they come. I know they're gonna ask. They need somebody. Every time you meet them, they need $1, need $10, $20. They needy. Huh? We tend, as human beings, we tend to help people that help themselves. We help people that help themselves. I'm gonna give you an example. We're driving down the parkway, right? We see a car and it's pulled over on the side of the road. We just keep going. We just keep going. We saw the car, it was pulled over on the side of the road, but we just flew right past it and didn't pay no attention to it. Now, same scenario, we go on the same speed, we're driving down the road, somebody, we see a woman and she's kneeled down, and a man kneel down and he's working on his tire. Right? Same car, but now we see the person outside and he's trying to fix a flat tire. We might pull over and help this person. Hey, you need a lift? Hey, you need some help with that? Oh, you need some jumper cables? Why? Because we help people who help themselves. You understand? You can't keep walking around feeling sorry for yourself, saying I ain't got no love, people don't like me. You got to like yourself. Huh? That comes with the territory. When you have love for yourself, people say, Dad, why does he love himself so much? I want to see what this person is about. Why does she love herself so much? Let me see what she's about. Yeah, you know what? She do strut that really pretty good. Let me see. You know what? I do see what you understand what I'm saying? They sell themselves. Love sells itself. It don't need promotion. You understand? It don't need a good filter on Instagram. Huh? It don't need Photoshop. Love don't need Photoshop. You can't even describe love. This is what's missing. We don't love ourselves. So this is what we try to do on this feed is show you how fantastic you are. Huh? You have to walk in that fantasticness. Let it drip all over you. Huh? Let it drip all over you. So that your vibration moves in love. Huh? Everywhere you go, people feel the vibration. Yo, it's something about this cat. It's something about this girl. Nothing but vibration. You understand? It's love. You got to love for yourself. So therefore, people love you. Because you created that diaspora. You created a whole new matrix. Huh? I remember it's only a couple months ago. I was sitting on the curb. We had people laughing. You know, what does he know? What does he know? He just sitting on a damn stoop. But I had love for myself. If I didn't have love for myself, we wouldn't be where we are here today. You understand? The lighthouse wouldn't be what it was if I didn't first have a love for JAMAAR Milton. Do you understand? And the same goes for you. If you don't love yourself enough to even walk from a dangerous situation, to walk away from a dangerous situation, or walk away from people that have no love for you and just love yourself, don't expect the love to come. You understand? Anybody, I tell you, anybody, especially that's dealt with music, right? A lot of them don't get love back home. As soon as they walk away or they move away from home and they go to a different state, all of a sudden everybody else in the other states, they love them. They love who they are. They love them. And then they come back. They say, yo, why you don't come back to the hood? Because y'all don't show no love. Huh? I had to have love for myself to go and leave y'all alone. Huh? And then I'll come back and show y'all some love. You know what I'm saying? Because if I stay here, y'all ain't going to show me no love. So you go to where the love is. Step 2. Love yourself enough to go to where the love is. That's it. Don't waste time trying to convince people to love you. You're wasting your time. These people aren't going to love you until other people love you. You see how that works? That means you surrounded yourself with followers. They're not showing you any love. You surrounded yourself with followers. So they're going to wait. It's called the Jones effect. When everybody loves you, they don't only just love you. Now they related to you. They was cousins. They was always around. Right? You know how it go. Yo, that's my homie right there, son. Like, yo, we came up. Right? Y'all know how that go. Welcome to the lighthouse. That's a fact. So learn how to love yourself enough. Let me go back to this definition here because this is key. This is the part that I really like right here. Okay. It says it's an attachment. Love is an attachment. Right? Love is an intense feeling or deep affection. It's an attachment, an attraction, right? An attraction. Well, what if I told you that sometimes you need to disconnect from an attraction to show yourself proven of true love? Because we're not just looking for any love, right? You're looking for true love. Sometimes you got to walk away. I'm sure your mama and your daddy used to tell you, if it's real, walk away. It'll come back to you. If it's real, let it go. It'll come back to you, right? Sometimes you have to love yourself enough to walk away from a bad situation. You can't love this person. Being with that person sometimes is dangerous for the two of you. So sometimes just letting that person go and do them is the ultimate sign of affection and the ultimate sign of love. It's not always being with that person that you define as love, right? That person might look at it as being disloyal when really you're just saying, yo, you know what? It's better that I not be with that person in this environment because us together, it's bad. You know? You can love something so much that you break it. Right? You misuse it. Right? You can't hug a carton of eggs. It's too delicate. Right? That's gonna be problems for the eggs and problem for you. Right? We love eggs, but you can't. Oh, I love it so much. Right? No, you can't do that. You can't do that, bro. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand that there's levels to love. Right? There's all different ways to love. And when you become conscious, you have to be comfortable in knowing that the way that you love someone is going to change. Love is not a destination. It's a journey. Love is not a destination. It's a journey. It's an ongoing process. You see? Because the person in love with today is to change time. You see? Oh yeah, she bad now, but y'all only 19, bro. She ain't gonna look at that when she ain't look like that when she's 55. She ain't gonna look like that when she's 60, 70. You see? Love changes. Right? So you don't want to fall in love with the outwardly appearance of a person. That's a small fraction, and that's going to change. That could change next week. That brother that you thought was fine, that brother that you thought was handsome, that could change next week, right? The grades start coming in. Hell, you could even have tragic accidents. Now he got one leg. You still love him? Huh? She developed cancer, had to get rid of one breast. You still love her? Huh? If that ain't the love that you're looking for, you ain't looking for love at all. You're looking for a reciprocation of yourself. I know some brothers, right? I know some brothers who say, yo, I want a girl, you know what I'm saying, that I could kick it with. You know what I'm saying? Like we could play video games together, we could go to the football game and ride motorcycles. I'm like, bro, it sounds like you're looking for a dude. You're looking for a reciprocation of yourself, man. You understand? That's not somebody that completes you. You already got that experience. Right? Like you don't sound like you're looking for somebody that is filling the holes or gaps within your life, right? That's the thing with dude looking for a female that can do certain things that we always like to do. Maybe she's not meant to do. Maybe that divine feminine energy is not meant to be around that situation. Sometimes it's just meant for you to do those things with your homies and figure out a way, that y'all can do those things together and still spend time with one another. Or see if she's willing to compromise every now and then. But you can't expect her to want to sit down and play video games with you every day. You can't expect her to want to go to every football game that you got. She's not into that. You understand what I'm saying? If you love her, you allow her to be herself. Stop always trying to change somebody. That's another thing about love. Always trying to change that person. Just let that person be them. Right? If you love that person, you love them for who they are right now. Right? If they need to change in order for you to love them, then your love is not based on genuosity, right? It's based on something that you want to get out of the situation, not what you're trying to give. Love is a service. It's a service. You understand? It's not a trophy. It's a service. This is why we have so much hard times in the conscious community finding love. Huh? This is why. We think love is actually a trophy. I work that way. You don't find, if I dig in it, I find my soul, and I'm like, I found love. I found it. Don't go the same way it was, we're gonna change, right? Love ain't like that. Love changes. It evolves. It evolves. Every day is something different. Every day there's a new trial, tribulation, something that you go through, and you got to change. You got to be willing to love the change. You understand? When you see problems coming down the pike, when you see the storm coming, you got to run towards it. Oh, yeah, let's tackle this one. Because you know what? When we go through this, when we come out on the other end, we're going to say, yo, look what we went through. Huh? That's when you're forming real stable love. Like, yo, look what we just went through, fam. Yo. You know what I'm saying? If you don't go through nothing, you ain't never been through nothing. So your love ain't stable. The real relationships are the ones that went through the trials, tribulations, and made it through together. Right? Not because of the love that they had even for themselves, the love they have for each other after loving themselves. Right? I got to be here. I got to be strong for this person. You know why? I love myself enough because I won't be able to make it without this person. You understand? So because I love myself, I'm going to make sure that my counterpart is okay because I'm not okay if my counterpart is not okay. Right? It's a revolving door. It's a process, a journey. And y'all both have to be on one accord. That's what love is about. Yes, it evolves. My brother Kevin Wesley, when he talks about love, he talks about evolving. Love evolves. If you haven't already, check out Kevin Wesley. That's my brother. Good dude. Love evolves. It changes. It won't stay the same. So, when we're dealing with the principle of Aset and we're dealing with the principle of Asar, Asar represents resurrection. It represents death, right? And she represents love, right? So there's a marriage here. There's a marriage between love and death, right? It's supposed to be a connection, meaning a true love will exist even after death. True love resurrects a dead body. You see? These are principles. These weren't actual people, right? These were principles, metaphorical principles, allegory to teach you what true love actually feels like, right? This is the greatest love story ever because he was cut into pieces, and she took his pieces and put them back together. That's love. She literally loved him to pieces. You know, I love my ancestors, man. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing the legwork that they put down for us that's still relevant to today. She loved him to pieces. You understand? She put them back together. So with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed that. It's time to give the shout outs. It's time to give shout outs. Okay. First shout out I want to give, if you don't know, we're doing Get This Work Wednesdays. What's Get This Work Wednesday? Get This Work Wednesday. The faculty of the Lighthouse decided to put together a quiz based on the information that I give you guys, based on the classes. And those who answer the quiz correctly, all answers correctly, and the quickest will receive a prize. So the winner of the first Get This Work Wednesdays goes out to, and we want to show her so much love. It goes out to Queen Coco Chanel. So show her some love. She's the queen that got all the answers correct in reference to the quiz. And her prize is going to be a free Reiki reading from Sister Latifah Foster. She's going to get a free reading, and we're going to be doing this every week. The prizes are going to be changing every week. There was 2 runners up that I want to shout out. That's Genesis Rochelle and Terry Phillips. They all got their answers correctly too, but Coco Chanel was the one who got hers done the quickest and submitted her answers to the Lighthouse faculty. So if you'd like to be a part of this, you want to join the Lighthouse group on Facebook, just click just type in the Lighthouse in the search engine and it will come up. You do have to answer questions in order to get in there, so I suggest that you watch a couple of these videos from the Lighthouse before you try to apply for it. We will not let people in if they do not answer the questions, because we do have agents, we do have trolls and people that try to tear down class and one another and have that. We do still have power bracelets on sale. Those of you who like to donate $50 or more will receive power bracelets to great for meditation. They are copper, brass, 2-tone copper and brass. OIT has one. We have several hundreds of people who have ordered these bracelets, and they're moving like hotcakes. So definitely be a part of it. We're gonna have the Lighthouse power trip coming up too. So be prepared for that. But like I said, the power bracelets, they're $50 donations of $50 or more. You receive a power bracelet. If you want a Lighthouse t-shirt, Lighthouse t-shirts are donations of $25 or more. This is Lighthouse t-shirt. Lighthouse t-shirt says duality on the front, because we do a balance of divine masculine and feminine energy. We don't play around with that. We like to show just as much love to the women as we do the men, and vice versa. So we believe in duality in Africa. Duality, and on the back it says Lighthouse, dua, 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 which means thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, and on the bottom it says nines. We put our nines up every morning. Okay, so we have that going for you guys as well. These are for donations of $25 or more. You get a t-shirt. Okay, what else we got going on? I want to shout out Joey Badass. Go and cop that album. Couple albums that y'all need to go out and get. That's Joey Badass's All American. You want to cop that. He supports the Lighthouse, so we want to show him our support. He's probably the last conscious rapper alive, man, and he's doing it big. We also want to shout out brother Sigi Potolo. Sigi Potolo has an album out. This is all conscious music, y'all. His album is called The Panther Party. You could cop that on iTunes, Google Play, the whole 9 yards. Spotify is out there. It's in stores. Sigi Potolo is also responsible for the t-shirt that I'm wearing today, the Vibranium shirt. He sent me a dope package yesterday of some t-shirts. This is one of them. You can go to his website